The hosts feel it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to. Well, we've warned you.
Hello, and welcome once again to the Frankencast. I'm the mad scientist, Anthony Bowman. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm joined as always by...
the Dr. Moreau we have at home, that is, Eric Velasquez. My pronouns are also he, him.
Yeah, I did not realize... I mean, I knew that this was like vaguely Dr. Moreau-y, but it is straight up just a ripoff of the island of Dr. Moreau. It's wild.
They're leaving out... Well, I don't want to say it. I don't want to admit too much. They're leaving out a few plot elements, we'll say that. How about we go that far? But we also are going to start with a note that, hey, when the bell's ringing, something scary is happening, so you can look away now. So at least they're that courteous.
Yeah, this felt like a very like a William Castle kind of thing. You know, it feels, you know, I mean, I guess even like, you know, our very first Frankenstein movie, you know, like we warned you, like it's definitely like, it is to warn you of something, but it's also to like hype up, like, this movie is so scary, we have to like let you know that a real scary thing's about to happen.
Oh yeah, there's one bell throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, for something
it's only during surgery.
Yeah, it's like 2 seconds long too. Like, but yeah. So like, I ended up, you know. So we have this is Terror is a Man, the first of this Blood Island series. I looked up a little bit about it. So like, this basically, like, this is the first horror film made in the Philippines, and really the beginning of like popular films being made in the Philippines at all. So the director, Gerardo de Leon, he got his start making pro-Japanese propaganda films during World War II, and then using the money to fund the anti-Japanese resistance going on in the Philippines.
Hell,
so this guy is awesome. Like, it's such a cool move. Yeah, so
by the way, people, steal the fascist money and use it against them.
Exactly. Yeah. So definitely a very cool guy. And then once the war was over, he now had kind of learned to make films, and so this is, you know, he kind of like, there was a film company that started in the Philippines and ended up kind of affiliating with some American filmmakers to kind of like import them into American drive-ins and stuff, which is how we'll end up with the fifth movie when we get to that. But so yeah, these first four are produced by like Filipino crew and, you know, directors, producers, and everything. It's all made there in the Philippines, which is really cool. And yeah, so it's interesting. This is kind of like this started a whole sort of move, and, you know, this is the kind of thing that I love. Like some people deciding like, hey, we want to do this cool thing, and we're not anywhere near the big machines that help this get done, so we're just gonna have to figure it out ourselves. And we end up
we're doing this live, right?
Exactly. So of course, yeah, it makes sense that they'd be like, well, we're able to put together, we don't have a writer, but we got a camera crew, we can do some special effects. Let's just borrow Island of Dr. Moreau. That'll be easy. That'll get us started. Sure. Like,
the script writes itself.
Literally, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So, yeah, so that's all, I've dug up about this, but I thought this was pretty neat. So, I'm excited to kind of dig into this whole 5-part series now after reading that bit about it.
Oh yeah, heck yeah. So we're going to start Isla de Sangre, aka Island of Blood, or Blood Island.
Yeah. So we have this, like, what looks kind of like an empty boat. We'll eventually find there's a guy passed out in it, but it's like floating to the shore of the island as the credits roll. And as we get to the end of the credits, we have it lands on the beach, and some men with torches approach the boat, find the unconscious guy, and we pretty much cut, like, they find him, and then we just cut to him waking up in a house.
Right. So the one doctor is Gerard, and his assistant is Walter.
And the unconscious man is William Fitzgerald. So as he's waking up, we have basically it's a good way to kind of get us acclimated here. They have to introduce themselves to each other in the situation, so we get a lot of backstory in a way that
exposition dump.
Yeah, in a way that feels sort of organic, because, Gerard is like, yeah, you've landed on my island. I'm a scientist, or, I'm working on experiments here. This is my assistant. And so how did you end up here? And he's like, well, I was on a boat and it capsized, it sunk, and I was at, I think the rest of my crew, I was on the deck and everybody else was below deck. So I don't know if anybody else got out, but, I was able to get onto this lifeboat. And
the ship was called the Pedro Queen, a.k.a. Peter Queen. You do with that what you will. Dude was the only survivor. So, okay, fair enough. Gerard says, hey, guess what? We have no form of contact, no radio. Nothing's going to be here for a long time. So get ready to settle in, buddy.
A boat from the mainland comes 4 times a year. It's going to be about 2 months before the next one rolls through.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And at that point, so Walter is like, he comes in at this point, and he's like, he was out looking for something in the woods, where we're kind of getting a little bit more exposition, but vague. He's like, I heard it moaning, but I wasn't able to find it. Are you sure
you want
even
that thing back?
Yeah. And Gerard's like, yeah, of course. It's the most important thing for my research. We have to get it back. So they leave together, sending in a little
Tiago.
A servant. Yeah, Tiago, the sort of island boy servant. He brings some food into William and kind of sits with him. So Gerard, rather than going out into the woods, he goes to talk to a woman that we'll find out is his wife, Frances. And she's this just gorgeous, bombshell woman.
Very typified of that time, right?
Yeah. And so she's asking about the man they found, and also says, did it escape again? And he's like, yeah, well, we're gonna find it. And she says, you should let it go. I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid of this house. I'm afraid of this island. I want to go home. So there's definitely some tension there. She's been dragged along on Gerard's, project, and doesn't really want to be here anymore.
Yeah, but Gerard says, hey, let's make out about it. And Frances she's not about that life at this point. She's like, no, thanks, bro. I'm good.
Yeah. She just told him how scared she is. She's not in the mood for this.
Right. By the way, what a move that this guy's making. Oh yeah, you're terrified and you're afraid for your life. Let's have sex. That works out so well, right?
Yeah, you got to understand your partner's love language. Sometimes, you see this in some movies, after a funeral, people will have sex or whatever. Sometimes that's what people want, but you got to know what your partner's into, and clearly this is not the move here.
Read the room, right?
Yeah. But we see after he leaves that there's something watching Frances through the window, so it is out there.
We get the view from its perspective. So, okay.
But then we also cut to just elsewhere on the island. We have a little village. There's several
the creature
little huts.
basically goes through the village and finds these people, so we can see them from its point of view as well.
Yeah, and we finally get to see the creature a little bit. It is wrapped in bandages from head to toe, but its hands are exposed and they look like claws. They're animalistic.
Yeah. And there's whiskers, so
Yeah. So it's this little village. We see the creature attacks a woman. She drops a necklace in the process.
And a man first. Man tending the fire.
Yeah. So this creature kills off 2 things. When it attacks the woman, she screams, and we have a bunch of other villagers kind of rush in, but the creature's already gone.
So next morning, everyone bolts. They're like, screw this noise. We're out of here.
Yeah. The entire village evacuates. They all rush out to the beach, get in these little boats and everything. But they
won't let one lady and her child on It's Selena and Tiago.
Yeah, so these are the people who have been serving Gerard, and so, for that reason, they've not been invited along.
Right. But no, you know what? Good for the village for just getting out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, like they're learning their lesson here. Like this island is no longer safe. We're going to move along. And so we cut away from them escaping, evacuating to the house where William has he's recuperated a little bit. He's out of bed. He's looking at himself in the mirror. He's clearly showered and shaved and everything.
Right.
Tiago kind of checks on him. He's like, so what's this, what the thing in the woods that Gerard is after, what's going on there? And he's like, oh, it's his experiments or whatever. And he's like, does anybody else live here on the island? And Tiago's like, nope, it's just us. So it doesn't mention that
no people live here now. Basically.
Yeah, which is true, but he's kind of bearing the lead here that yes, as of an hour ago, we're the only ones on the island. Before that, whole village right over there. But
yeah, this kid's a little shit, and I love him for it. He's very glib.
Yeah. So then we have William exploring the house. He sees Selena, which this is the first time that we hadn't seen her as a servant yet. We just had seen her on the beach, and he then goes out of the house and starts exploring the woods and finds the village,
right,
and also next to the village a graveyard. So
interesting.
Yeah. So this is not like a temporary village. People have when you see a graveyard, that means people have lived here a while. They have kind of set up stakes. This is not a nomadic people. They're not going to have time to have a whole ass graveyard unless they have set down roots.
Listen, all I know is if you have a scaffold in the middle of your village for watching out, that means you're there to stay, at least for a bit.
Yeah.
But we're interrupted by some crunching.
So he goes to follow the sound of that and see what's going on. And he ends up finding Gerard, Walter, and Francis. They are digging a pit. And it's one of the, he's kind of, going through the brush, and then all of a sudden he hears Gerard wait, stop, don't move. And he was like, we've got this kind of hidden pit that we're building a trap. We don't want you to fall into it. So he's like,
step around it.
Yeah, go around that way. And so at that point, Gerard introduces William to Francis, and says, that we're working to try to catch the creature, basically. There's 3 more of them around the island, so be careful. Don't go exploring too far.
Also, we put out some drugged meat, so just don't eat random floor meat. Okay?
Right. And Gerard's like, so what is it you're trapping? And or William is, and Gerard's like, oh yeah, it's we're just be careful. He just completely sidesteps, does not answer that question at all.
Right.
And I think then we just cut right to the group, the 4 white people, the 4 people who have traveled to the island, eating dinner as Selena and Tiago serve them dinner, basically.
Right. And also, Tiago's waving around a stick with tassels on it. What is that thing?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't
okay. I should do some more research.
Yeah, I don't know if it's if it's something to do with it. Yeah, I don't know if it's an actual Filipino thing or if it's a fake whatever fictional tribe he's a part of or whatever. It seems like there's a bit later where he will give William a protection thing. So it seems like he it's some sort of ritual superstitious thing that he's trying to protect the house in some way.
Right.
And at that, Walter is talking over dinner that he's, as soon as he finishes eating, he's going to head back out to keep working because he needs to get that black devil back where he belongs, he says.
Great phrasing, right?
Yeah. And at the time, when he says it, when we have not seen the creature yet, I mean, we I guess we did see that its hands are black. Not actual black, not black skinned like a human, but actual black animal hands. And but it definitely feels like it's a racial comment here, or Black Devil kind of also sounds like evil, which of course is a big part of anglicized culture to mix black skin with black as in evil. So it but like it fits Walter. Like I feel like this is again one of those instances of like, these aren't racist filmmakers. These are filmmakers making a commentary about racism by using a character,
because this is supposed to be off the coast of Peru. Walter is, a South American man, probably most of South America were descended from colonizers, most. So, yeah. It's a comment about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so. So again, we have, William keeps pressing Gerard, like, so what is he hunting? What is going on out there? Why are you here? And he again doesn't really talk about the creature, but he does kind of expand on like why he's here at least. And
we get a story dump.
Mm-hmm. So he's a surgeon
from New York. Well, lived in New York. He definitely is not from New York. He has a very German accent, is what I will say. And, I was like, oh, is this a commentary about, those guys from the 30s in Germany moving to South America? Is that a thing?
Yeah. I mean, it could be.
Okay.
So he does also say that the island is only unoccupied as of last night. That there were villagers, they evacuated. There were 50 people who fled the island, and he's like, they're just they're superstitious. They think that my work is magic, and I'm a surgeon, I'm a scientist, but they don't understand that. But honestly, I came here because the people in New York were just as superstitious as these villagers. So it sounds like this is our Frankenstein-y thing. He's doing things outside the bounds of science, and the accepted like scientific community sort of is exiling him for doing things against what God would want people to do.
But I do like how he notes that, hey, just because you live in fancy places doesn't mean you're not the exact same as people living outside.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, like he definitely is doing stuff that he shouldn't be doing, but I do appreciate that he's like, yeah, it's not that these people are savages, it's that, they just don't understand my work in the same way that, people in New York don't.
Right.
It's not a judgment against them that, as being primitive or anything like that. Like,
right. He literally states that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so also,
good.
Like, I like there's some other more subtle commentary that he made when he was like, yeah, I was in New York, I made too much money. Like, the money was a distraction for me.
Yeah. He's like, I was a really successful surgeon and I could have kept doing it, but it's like, because the money kept coming in, it made me want to keep doing that work instead of the important work that I wanted to focus on.
Which, that's fascinating. That's really cool, in my opinion. Just not necessarily the, I understand the wanting to get that bag, but also that this character literally, he doesn't care about it. That's not the important work. He does want to better humanity.
Yeah.
This isn't just for him.
There's so many people that, people like us who we have to work real jobs, and then we have our passion projects that, maybe it's hard to balance around that, but we have to keep working to eat and pay rent and all of these things. Yeah. But, he's kind of saying like, the capitalist machine will eat you up even if you technically have enough money. You can't stop. Like
you will always want more.
Mm-hmm. And capitalism wants you to keep, feeding the cycle.
This was made in the 60s? Okay, just checking.
Yeah, I think this one actually, I think even came out in like 59. Like it is, okay. The basically the 60s. This series is definitely a product of the 60s.
No doubt. But also we get some of Fitzgerald's background, Williams. Turns out he was in South America for an undisclosed reason for several years. Mm-hmm. And now he's heading to San Francisco. What was this guy doing? Was he hunting the German guys?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I'm adding backstory to this guy for no reason.
Yeah, it does feel like, he's not talking about what's going on. So, like, his work is also suspicious in some way. He's doing something that he doesn't want to talk about, whether that is poaching or illegal mining or
he seems to be proficient in combat.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he was I don't want to say sent by the American government, but possibly
Yeah,
possibly.
Could be. Yeah. So
School of the Americas, baby. Anyway.
And so Gerard does say that he's using his surgical techniques to alter certain features, is how he describes it. That's all he says. And so the thing that's out in the woods is an animal. He's very clear it's an animal that they're trying to track down again. He's been performing surgery on animals to figure something out about. Yeah. William actually, this, seemed kind of like a not smart thing to say out loud, but maybe he's just like, we all know it, we're all thinking it, so I'm going to put it on the table. Nobody knows I'm here. Everybody who knew where I was, they all have died. No one knows where the boat went down. No one is looking for me. So it seems like he's like, I understand I'm in a vulnerable position here, and I'm making it clear to you all that I know where I stand.
Right, but that's also like, hey, I know that typically you would think that's kind of like, normally you would think I'm weak, but I'm letting you know that I know this, so that you know that maybe it's a bit more even than you're thinking.
Yeah.
Don't try it, basically.
Right. And so this conversation gets interrupted that we hear a loud sound outside. Gerard goes to run out and see what's going on. He grabs a gun from a little table as he heads out.
Effectively Chekhov's gun, or Walter's gun, as we'll find out.
Yeah. And so William and Francis sit there for a minute, and then they're like, I guess we should follow him, see what's going on. So they come out. They don't see Gerard. He has gone out into the woods. And Francis looks all worried, and William's like, are you afraid of something? And she's like, yeah, I'm afraid of everything here.
Right, like the darkness in the night. I was never afraid of it. By the way, have you read Island of Dr. Moreau? Just asking. But no, she was never afraid of the darkness in the night before. Yeah. So, and then Fitzgerald's like, so that sounded like a panther. What's a panther doing here?
Yeah, and she's like, okay, yes, that's the thing. We brought a panther here. I know they're not native to this island, but Gerard brought it. This is what he's experimenting on, and it has escaped.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
And the reason that she has been dragged along, I mean, of course, she's his wife, so she's going to be here, but she's also a nurse. So he's, use it. It's the family business. He's using her for free labor.
Yeah. As you do with family.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm ready to leave though. I'm done with the work. I'm done with being on this island. I'm done with being afraid. Can you help me? And William's like, yeah, of course, I'll help you out. But before they can continue with that discussion, Gerard and Walter come approaching through the woods. They're carrying something, but it's dark. And William is like, see, they got him. There's nothing to be afraid of now. And she's like, oh,
Francis
yeah.
says, yes, there is. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. A little later, Gerard's ready to get back to work now that they've gotten captured their experiment. And, he's trying to get Francis to help. And she's like, I'm done. I don't want to help. And she's like, but okay, fine. If it'll get us out of here sooner, I'll help. Then William is going to head to bed, but he bumps into Gerard in the hallway. He again tries to talk to Gerard about his work, but then there's kind of this pause where it's pretty clear he wants to ask some questions about Francis, but Gerard almost kind of sees that coming and just kind of again dodges the question before it's even asked this time.
Well, he literally says, I came here to work in peace with no one to waste my time. He's like, don't you fucking say it. I don't care. Shut up. Let me do my thing.
Yeah. So we have William in his room. He's smoking, looking out the window. He seems very anxious. And then he's kind of, you get the sense that he's just like, fuck it. I'm going to go downstairs and see what's actually going on. So he's sneaking into the basement, peeking around corners and everything. And he sees in the lab that the thing that Gerard is working on is distinctly human-shaped.
Right.
It's
not panther-shaped.
Yeah, it's hidden. He can't quite see what it is, but it is shaped like a person.
Right. This is when the power starts to flicker, and Gerard tells Francis, hey, go fix the generator. Which, that's great. That's awesome. Just tell your significant other, hey, go do menial labor for me, please.
Yeah. So we get a lot of stuff where, like, you know, William is hiding, but he's kind of, you know, he's moving around, ducking into shadows as Francis comes out and checks on something.
Very spec ops, this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does a great job. And, you know, like Francis at some point rolls the experiment out on a gurney and takes it into the space where William is. And he's like hidden in the shadows. And then as soon as she steps away, he kind of like gets out of the room that the creature is in and hides in some other shadows. Yeah, and it works out because she ends up locking up this cell. So he would have been trapped in this cell with the thing.
Right. Well, as he's leaving, it reaches for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, it got out just in the nick of time. So now he's hiding in the shadows, and as Francis locks the cell door, she looks in and says, "I'm sorry," to the creature in there. So she's got some empathy
again, have
for
you
it.
read The Island of Dr. Moreau? Just curious. Okay, anyway.
Right, yeah. So then we have a little later, William's back in his room, and he hears someone outside his door. He doesn't answer it, or he doesn't go to the door because no one's knocked. He just knows someone's right outside, and we see that it's Francis. And she, like, they're both kind of like waiting for the other one to do something, and neither of them does. So she just goes.
Yeah. Can you feel the tension?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So then we cut to the next day. William's again wandering the island, and he finds Francis sunbathing on the beach. And he's like, "So that little village, there's a graveyard by it. What's going on with that?" And she's like, "Yeah, you know, so Tiago's mother was the first person to be killed when the creature escaped. But since then, it's gotten out a few times, and it's killed several more villagers." And he's like, "Oh,
but isn't Selena her mom, or is it Alicia? Because she says Alicia at one point."
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking Selena might be like his sister, or maybe an aunt or something.
It's Tia.
But so he's like, so that's why they left, or that they're afraid of it, or are they afraid of your husband? And she's like, yeah, all of the above. Yes,
you are correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's
so
like,
she's like, "Hey, I asked you, will you help me? Will you help me?"
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so he agrees again, and they kind of like, there's a lot of like flirtatiousness here. There's a lot of sexual tension. He kisses her, and she like pulls back, and she's like, "No, you misunderstand me. I'm not lonely. I am afraid. I'm not looking for a boyfriend. I'm looking for safety."
Right.
And
but good old Walter comes in, and he's walking along the beach, and is like, "Oh, okay, that's something."
Yeah,
I'll keep that. Walter will remember this.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. They do a good job with this shot because it's like we see Walter, we see that Walter is seeing something interesting, but like the way the camera's placed and everything, we don't see what he's seeing, and so it's like, is he seeing them? It seems likely, but maybe he's seeing something else on the island that is also of a concern. So it's safe to assume that it's them, but it's left ambiguous enough that like you're not certain until further into the movie.
Right. So we cut to later that night. William, Francis, and Walter are all having a little bit of a drink.
Mm-hmm. And they can hear some yowling sounds, off in the distance. And Francis is like, "You guys can stay up and drink all you want, but I'm done with this. I'm going to bed."
This is when we get the exposition scene from Walter. Everyone's on edge. It's because of the rain. That's what causes it.
Yeah. So William again is, he's going to ask he's trying to figure out, put all the pieces together. So he's just, good at probing and sort of like, interrogating people. But Walter's basically like, I don't care. Like, I just work for Gerard. Like, I don't care about science. I'm a mercenary, basically.
Well, he says he's worked in hospitals. He worked in mental health facilities. He didn't call them that. Mm-hmm. But basically ever since he was in his 20s. And Gerard might be the most mentally unhinged person he's worked for.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not even sure if I believe in his work. Like, it may be a bunch of nonsense, but he pays. Yeah. It's fine. Like, I'll go where the money is. Yeah. And so he goes to bed, and then William, he's like, oh, I'm all alone. Time to, snoop around Gerard's study. Right. And it's here that we see, Gerard has his, like, Victor Frankenstein notebook. And we finally see, exactly what he's working on. We've gotten all this contradictory stuff. That's an animal. There was a panther, but it looks like a person. What's going on here? And
it's a cat person.
Yeah, he's literally turning a panther into a person via surgical methods. And Gerard strolls in at that point, and he's like, so you're curious about my work. I see. Right. See, now you maybe know a little bit more than I've revealed so far.
Right. You want another drink, by the way. That's always sketchy. Anytime in these movies when someone's like that, it's like, don't take the drink. Don't take that extra drink.
Yeah. But he's like, yeah, I'm trying to, push evolution. Like I'm combining, humans have kind of reached the peak of what we can get to, and we're not great. So I'm wondering if, we evolved from apes, maybe I can evolve a different chain of animal to a new humanoid species that maybe will be better than us. In some
because
way.
Humans are weighed down with the baggage of our own history, right? Something fresh and new, it won't have that baggage unless we put it on it, which we will. But yeah, so basically fresh out of medical school, during medical school, I was like, hey, let's start doing this. And that was kind of my real work, but everything else is a distraction since then.
Yeah. And so he's like, all right, I mean, now that you know everything, now that all of our cards are on the table, why don't you come watch the next procedure? We're going to, we're continuing with our work.
He will also tell us about the special drug he's concocted that will increase or allow him to control the size of a brain.
Yeah. So this is how we, of course, you can do all kinds of stuff to make a panther look more human, but if it's still just got a panther brain, that's not going to push forward evolution in any way.
Yeah. It's just a panther with a guy's body, right?
Yeah, which, it's kind of funny. I don't know if you've been following this direwolf news. Have you seen something about this?
I have seen about it.
Yeah, like it's very similar. So like I saw the first article and I was so hyped. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like they've done this thing with direwolves. They have plans to do the woolly mammoth. They have plans to do the thylacine, which is a creature that I've been obsessed with since I was a kid. I was like, this is so awesome. And then another article came out a little later that was like, so actually no, they have done some gene sequencing to try to figure out direwolf stuff, but really all that they're doing is taking a gray wolf and editing genes to make it look like what we think a direwolf looked like. It is in no way a direwolf. It's genetically a gray wolf that's just a little bigger and has different shaped ears.
We basically just bred what we're calling a direwolf.
And the spokeswoman from the company is like, I mean, if it looks like a direwolf, it's a direwolf, right? And it's like, no, absolutely not. So
incorrect.
So that's kind of what we have here is, Gerard is doing.
I love the idea of it's just an elephant with fur. I mean, arguably that's all a woolly mammoth is, but
Yeah, but the thing, I don't know how much you know about thylacines, but they are not like anything that we have. So I don't know what they think they're going to do there. Like you can't.
They are a weird. Yeah, thylacines are a weird mix of literally of dog and cat. They're like some weird in-between stage.
And they're a marsupial that has a pouch on their belly, but they walk on all fours. So they're wild, and they have stripes. You can't. There's no way that you could fuck with the genes of a dingo or a jackal or something and turn it into a thylacine. It's not happening. But here with Dr. Gerard, he's like, no, I know that making a panther look like a man is not enough. I'm doing more stuff to evolve it beyond appearance.
I'm sorry. This just brought back. Basically, they're monster suing the direwolf, literally just stapling direwolf face onto something else.
Yeah, which is a shame. I was really excited at first. I really want this to be the case. It would be great to bring back extinct things. It would be amazing, but I don't think I don't think we're really there yet. I think this is a little bit of like a Theranos thing where they're just like, if we want it really hard and we just kind of fudge the numbers, eventually it'll just work.
Listen, that's how we've gotten this far. So, I mean...
Yeah.
What do we expect, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, so... Man-made evolution, of course. William's like, well, that's unnatural. And Gerard's like, I mean... It just is what it is, just faster, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, what's natural? I'm natural. I'm part of nature. If I do it, it's natural. So
yeah, he's not wrong.
Yeah. So then we have a couple little quick scenes. We have William. He steps outside. It's like pouring down rain. You know, as Walter said, the rain is making people feel weird. We also see that while this is going on downstairs, Gerard's working by himself on the creature, and it seems like it's like twitching and convulsing. Like it does not seem, you know, like it's in doing well with whatever Gerard's doing to it.
Yeah, and he's trying to soothe it. He's like, calm down, it's fine.
And then even later we have Frances coming into William's room, and she kisses him this time. So you know, before she was kind of hesitant, but you know, the tension has built, and you know, this relationship is starting to actually kind of form.
Now, because I'm cynical, I have to ask this question. Is it really a relationship, or is it basically just her being like, listen, I got to get this guy on my side? And clearly, he's motivated by one thing.
Yeah, it definitely could be that. Like, you know, she wouldn't be the first person who's like, you know, I'll do what I have to do to get safe.
Listen, I'm not faulting her one bit. Good for her. She's a smart lady.
Sex work is real work, even if it's to survive. But then we also see Tiago gives, this is what I mentioned earlier, Tiago gives this kind of like collection of beads, like gather, you know, on like some sort of...
It's like an amulet.
Yeah.
It's the, I don't like this term because I'm pretty, you know, as limited as my knowledge is, I'm pretty sure this isn't a thing, especially in South America. An amulet of Aku Aku. Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah, and he doesn't really explain what Aku Aku is. He's just like, just keep this. It'll keep you safe. And then, you know, he leaves. Frances comes in, and William's like, we should talk about last night. And she's like, no, I don't want to talk about last night. Like, let's just keep that between us. You know, I still need your help, but like, let's not talk about what we did.
Right. And he's like, no, we have to talk about our feelings. And she's like, dude, we don't really have to do that. And we're not doing that right now.
Yeah, it's not the time or place at all. And of course, Gerard comes strolling in at that point. So she's right. Now's not the time. And he's like, have you seen Walter? We need to continue with our work. And you know, they haven't, but William's like, what is these beads? The kid gave me these beads. He said Aku Aku, I think. And you know, Gerard's like, yeah, it's a good luck charm. You know, he must think that you need protection from something.
Right. You know, like everyone's superstitious in their own way, right?
Yeah.
But hey, I'm going to do surgery in the morning, later this morning. So why don't you help me, buddy?
Yeah, and William's like, okay, sure. And Frances is like, I want nothing to do with this. Now that you got another helper, I'm done. I'm out.
I'm retiring, right?
Yeah. So Gerard does take William downstairs, and to show him the animal, and you know, again we see that it is clearly just a man-shaped thing wrapped in bandages. They start the procedure. You know, Walter comes in to join them.
Well, and this is also where we get that Gerard's a little bit superstitious because he notes that he asks William, do you believe in miracles? And surprisingly, William's like, no, I don't. Mm-hmm. Like, I've never seen them. And Gerard says, I do. And I think this is a miracle.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And it's at this point...
Normally, it's kind of the opposite, right? Like,
I mean, he's been talking about, you know, science. You know, everybody else is so superstitious. I'm a scientist, but no, he does. He's admitting
I'm just like everyone else. Just
yeah, as you said, everybody's superstitious in their own way. But as they start working, we hear a bell ring. This is our warning bell, you know, mentioned at the beginning. And as soon as the bell rings, we get a single shot of a scalpel cutting flesh. I don't know.
It's a little aggressive. But that's about it.
Yeah, this is black and white and pretty grainy. This might be an actual like bit of stock footage of a real surgery, or it might just be special effects of them cutting rubber open. You can't tell at all. It's it's not. If it's real, it's so like I've seen fake stuff that looks more upsetting than this, or if it's fake, it's like either way, it is. Maybe for a 1959 audience, this might have been. A lot. But
was silicone a thing then? Because that would make sense. Like that simulates flesh pretty good, right? Mm-hmm. Like the rubbery silicone.
Yeah, I'm not sure when that, but yeah, I mean, it definitely could be that. But it's
it was technically created in 1824, so possibly.
Yeah,
probably
very well could be.
All right.
And like as soon as it's like 2 seconds of it cutting, and then the bell rings again to let you know you can open your eyes if you're squeamish. And that's it. That's our whole, warning, too scary for TV moment. And, so then, they're finishing up the surgery. Gerard says, at this point, I've performed 52 operations on the creature, and I've got many more to go. But
it's ironic that such a fearsome creature is afraid of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when the surgery finishes, William goes back upstairs. He bumps into Tiago, and Tiago's like, you still have the Aku Aku with you, right? And he's like, yep, yeah, I got it. And he's like, all right, just making sure.
I love this kid. He's the best. But Frances then goes downstairs, and she looks at the creature. Mm-hmm. Like it was related to her. Have you read The Island of Dr. No, I'm kidding.
And we get a close-up of the creature's face. Again, it's wrapped in bandages, but we see its eyes. Like, the eyes are uncovered, and we can see some, whiskers kind of sticking out. So it's clear
I really want to say black eyes, the devil's eyes. But anyway, they're very human.
Yeah. So then, Gerard goes upstairs as Frances kind of, cares for the creature post-surgery. And then, so Gerard leaves, and Walter confronts Frances. And is like, so I saw what happened on the beach. Maybe you
don't want to do that because your husband, he's a little unhinged.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, I just want to leave. I'm not trying to have an affair. I'm not trying to start something with William. I'm just trying to get out of here.
Right. And Walter's like, well, that's good because he's not going to help you. He's helping your husband.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, but maybe I could help you.
Maybe he could, but not in the way he wants to. So warning about SA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he kind of he does sort of corner her a little bit. It's definitely implied that's like, if you want to pay me in the same way you're trying to pay William, maybe we can work something out. Yeah. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So she kind of breaks free.
Because Walter's the best guy, he decides he's going to take it out on the creature by beating it with a stick of wood or block of wood.
Yeah, because the creature seems upset by the violence going on in the room. Again, to go back to Frankenstein, this felt like a Fritz moment. Like he's the assistant beating the creature.
Exactly.
Then upstairs, William sees Selena out in the woods, and he's like, "Can you help?" We're trying to escape. Can you help me and Frances? We need to get out of here. And she's like, yeah. If we stuck around when the rest of our people left because, they felt like we were tainted. So they didn't really want to take us with them. And also, Gerard has taken care of us. So it felt like the only place for us. But if you all are escaping, we'll go with you because.
And this is when William notes that she has a bruise on her arm. And he asks, did Walter Pereira do this? By the way, I didn't hear his last name being called Pereira until now.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, I don't want to talk about that. Yeah. So then we have a little later, Gerard again, taking William under his wing and is like, let me show you my notes. And William says, you keep saying animal, but I've seen what you're working on and it's a man. I love
that. Gerard literally replies with the Dracula response, what is a man?
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, the response to that always has to be a miserable pile of secrets. But anyway, we're going to continue on.
Yeah, so William's like, no, I looked in his eyes. There's a soul there. And Gerard is like, well, if there's a soul there, I put it there. Like, it was an animal until I started my work. And William's like, why are you doing this? Do you even know why you're doing it? And Gerard's like, yeah, I'm perfectly sane. I'm not a mad scientist.
That's what sane people say. I'm perfectly sane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He further kind of goes with what he was saying earlier. He's like, men are ruled by bad thoughts and anxieties. I want to create a new line of humans who aren't. So that's I'm evolving, from a, rather than apes, we're going with cats. We're gonna make, which, I mean, I don't know if
the serial killers of the animal world. What could be safer than that?
Yeah. And he again shows William some more of his notes, the evolutionary process.
Yeah, he even did sketches as the creature was changing.
Mm-hmm. And William's like, but what about the deaths? That thing you're making has killed a bunch of people on this island. And he's like, collateral damage. Right. Omelets, eggs, the whole thing. And William's like, no, but those were people. They didn't volunteer to be here. And I mean, even Frances, you dragged her along. She's in danger. Right. She shouldn't be forced to be involved with what you're doing. And Gerard's like, this is just part of this is science.
Yeah. We hopped on this train and we're not going to stop until we get to the stop.
Mm-hmm. We have a little later Gerard going down to check on his creation. He wakes it up. And he's, unlike Victor Frankenstein, he is trying to teach it. He is wanting this thing to become a real sentient person. So he's trying to get it to talk. Specifically, he's trying to make
man.
Man is going to be its first words. And it does get some sounds that are vaguely like it's saying man, but not quite. This is kind of like, a dog that has a weird bark that sounds like something, or, maybe like a parrot that you get to say some words, but it doesn't really know what it's saying or whatever.
Yeah.
But Gerard is happy with this. It feels like progress to him. But then when Walter comes in to help, the creature, of course, its last interaction with Walter was being beaten. Yeah. So it becomes angry and violent. It breaks free from its, where it's kind of tethered down. It starts smashing up the lab.
And it does a damn good job of smashing that lab. But they send Walter to go get a torch and a gun.
Mm-hmm. So William and Walter both come back in. Gerard, and so there's this all kind of violent chaos. Gerard is trying to sedate the creature. He's got a syringe. But he can't get a hold of the creature. Walter is trying to kind of back it into a corner with a torch, again in classic Frankenstein style. But he hits the thing with the torch, and it is covered in bandages. What happens
when you introduce fire to bandage?
Yep, just
burn.
Yep, goes up.
I was
going to
say explosion, but that's not how that works. That's not how that works at all.
But it does erupt in flames from head to toe, basically. So they managed to put it out, and we just kind of cut to later on. We've got our sort of four main characters again debating: is this creature a man or an animal, and what do we do? How do we handle moving forward?
Now Francis just immediately states, "I don't give a damn. I'm out. I'm leaving the moment a boat gets here. So you all do what you got to do."
Mm-hmm. And Gerard is not having that. He's like, you will leave this island when I leave and no sooner, and that's final.
Rough.
Yeah, again, this is, definitely 50s mindset here. You are my wife. You will do what I say.
Now, she does respond with, you did not create me.
Mm-hmm.
Have you read The Island of Dr. Yeah. Okay, just noting that.
Yeah. So again, Gerard's like, I'm going to go back to work. And so we have the other three continue. Are we sure he is sane? It just seems like he's pushing further and further, and it seems dangerous.
Right. And Walter, he's starting to lash out. He's starting to get a little unhinged himself. And he's like, we gotta put this guy down. We gotta stop Gerard. And I love how I keep calling him Gerald. Fitzgerald, William, says, yeah, we do, but you're not the one. You're not the one who's going to do it.
Yeah, I don't trust you to do this.
So they get in a fight. William decks Walter. Walter is pissed, gets up, grabs the gun. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to kill Gerard, and I'm going to kill that creature. This is it.
So, yeah, he goes downstairs, and he's looking around for the creature, and then we see, like, a clawed hand reach out and like, strike. So it knocks Walter down. And then upstairs, it's still storming. All the lights go out, and we have William and Francis trying to get the lights back on. And again, William's like, "I love you." He's really invested in this relationship.
And she's like, "Yeah, I'm sure you do."
Yeah, she's like, "I am still married to Gerard. Like, I can't give up on that so quickly. I need to be safe. I can't process your feelings right now. I just need. I'm in fight or flight mode all the time, and I want to stop." And then they see the creature in like the like a dark hallway, and that of course Francis screams and it runs out escaping into the jungle again.
Oh no! Yeah, right.
And at that point, Gerard comes running upstairs and he's like, "Have you seen the creature? It killed Walter." And they're like, "Yeah, it went back out into the jungle." He's like, "Okay, we have to find it now. We have to search right now. I know it's storming, but we can't stop. If it gets too far, things could get out of hand again."
So as before they go out there, though, we get a shot of the outside where it's raining. Tiago just runs off into the distance for some reason. Like, we're not going to find out what he's doing, but he is doing something.
Yeah. Francis is like, fuck this shit. I'm locking myself in my room. You guys can deal with this. So then we see Selena notice that Tiago, went out in the woods. She goes to follow after him, but she is immediately attacked by the creature.
Right. You would think it almost seemed like it was approaching her to be like, "Hey, friend," but no, it kills her for sure.
And so now we go back to Frances in her room. She's safe, but she starts to feel a little bit of regret. Like, there are people I care about out there. You kind of get the sense, like, between the conversation earlier with Selena and William, that, like, Selena and Tiago have stuck around this long mainly because they care about Frances and they're trying to keep her safe. So Frances kind of feels the same way. Like, maybe I should go out and see what's going on with the two of them.
And she finds Selena's dead.
Yeah, finds her like laying dead beside the porch. She, that scares her enough that she's like, "Okay, no, I am going back to safety." So she runs back inside again to hide. But the creature chases her. He saw her. Yeah. So now we see the creature with the face fully unbandaged. It's as we knew it would. It looks like a cat face. It looks similar to the drawings that that Gerard had been working on.
Think the Wolfman, but cat.
Yeah. And it keeps saying man.
Right.
And she, runs to her room, locks herself in, and the creature starts pounding on the door, immediately breaks it down. And both of the William and Gerard come looking. They're like, "Oh, we got to save Francis." Yeah, so as they run up to the house, they see Selena dead outside, which also, makes them in more of a rush to get to Francis.
They see the creature carrying Francis off into the woods.
Yeah, the house is wrecked, and they see in the distance the creature carrying her in the classic, monster holding fainted woman pose.
Yeah, that we'll see in the creature from Black Lagoon. Yeah, right.
So they, Gerard and William, try to follow after. They lose sight of the creature, and Gerard's like, "We should split up." But then he sees, they split up, and Gerard sees the monster approaching a cliff, still holding Francis, and so he's like, "Put her down. Don't." It's very tenuous now. Like, we're on the literal like edge of danger here.
Like he's threatening, like the creature's threatening to throw her off, right?
Yeah. He keeps yelling "man" at Gerard, but he does eventually set her down. But now we still have Gerard having the creature kind of cornered on this cliff face. So,
but Gerard's not willing to shoot the creature. Like, he has the ability, he just doesn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is still his experiment that he still wants to make use of. But the creature does attack.
It does not want to make use of him.
Yeah. So we get an attack there, and he in the commotion throws Gerard off the cliff.
Right. Oh no. So Gerard's gone, and that was kind of amazing, honestly, seeing the creature just lift up the dummy Gerard and toss him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously Francis is laying down, but this is when William comes by, grabs the gun, and unloads a couple shots into the creature because he doesn't give a shit about it.
Yeah, and so of course, getting shot and everything, the creature falls off the cliff as he has to.
But it doesn't die; it gets back up.
Yeah. So we see it fall. We see William comforting Francis, and then we see the monster waking up on the beach, kind of injured, but kind of sort of stumbling across the beach toward the boat that William arrived in.
Tiago's waiting there for him. What? Okay.
Yeah, and Tiago helps it get into the boat. And then we see a little later, William and Francis come down to the beach. They find Tiago alone. And they're like,
now this little shit, he literally just says, "Oh, it's gone. It left in the boat." Not, "I helped it get in the boat." So is he seeking this creature on the other people from the island?
Yeah, this twist is pretty wild. Like, I did not expect this.
Yeah.
So William and Francis just kind of like look out at the beach, and he's like, "The sun will be up soon," and the end. Like, it's
she notes, the creature wanted to help her. Are you sure, ma'am? Like, are you certain that it wanted to help you? I think you're just putting it on the creature. I don't think it gave a damn about you. I think it was going to kill you.
Yeah, it was either going to kill you or something else. Like, it wanted something from you. It was not trying to help you.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, clearly she had sympathy for the creature, and, of course she should. Like, I mean, it's not its fault that it is a panther shaped like a man now. Like, that's on Gerard. It's just doing what a panther would do if it could walk around on two legs.
I love how Tiago is the secret villain of this whole thing. By the way, every joke I was making about Island of Dr. Moreau was only in the setup. Like, none of that. We don't get the big payoff where everyone was animals all along.
Yeah. We just have the one animal, at least for now. I mean, we do know we've got several more sequels that, again, I have not seen. I have no idea what's coming, but
more chances to follow up, right?
Yeah. So there's, I mean, obviously, if there are sequels, I feel like we're going to get more creatures. We know we have the one that has escaped, but I don't know that we're going to be following it because this is the Blood Island series. So surely we're going to stay here on Blood Island. Yeah.
Was the creature going to come back because of the current? Is it going to blow him back onto the island?
Yeah, that's interesting. It could
or maybe
be.
It's going to go on a murder tour. It goes to the one village, kills everybody there, or the new island kills everyone there, comes back to Blood Island.
Could be.
We don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah. This is completely a mystery to us. So yeah, that's. I mean, obviously. We don't even hardly have to tease. We definitely the next film is sometimes called Brides of Blood or Brides of Blood Island.
As you do, and eventually we'll get Sun, right? No,
right.
Sun and then Ghost of Blood Island.
So yeah, I don't. I mean, that does seem to imply that there will be possibly some female monsters in the mix, or else. Yeah. Just more, the monster we had trying to find a human bride, or I don't know. We'll find out sure enough, but so Brides of Blood Island is the next in the series, and we'll be getting to that next week.
All right, Anthony, where can they find us?
Yeah, so you can find us on all the socials at The Frankencast. You can email us at thefrankencast@gmail.com. We're also over on YouTube. And of course, you can find us at patreon.com/thefrankencast. We're always up to new stuff over there. We're in the middle of a bunch of Munster stuff. We've been doing Creature Commandos. Last week here we had a little April Fool's thing. We did a little April Fool's thing over there as well. So there's plenty of fun stuff over there. So we'd love to have you if you want to drop in and check out what we got over there.
Definitely a big bunch of goofs. All right. Anything else we got to say about it?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you once again, and to be continued.
Looks like you survived another episode. The Frankencast is a production of FCR Media. It's hosted by Anthony Bowman and Eric Velasquez. Follow us on Twitter at The Frankencast, or send us a letter at thefrankencast@gmail.com. Our cover art is by Amanda Keller. You can find her at Keller Illustrations on Instagram. Our theme music is by Vivek Abhishek. Thanks for listening.